While investigating the murder of Theo Silverton, DS Lisa Connor-Swain shocks residents by arresting an unexpected Coronation Street local who was never even considered a suspect. Nobody in Weatherfield is mourning Theo's death after the abuse he inflicted on so many people, but Lisa is determined to crack the case for personal as well as professional reasons. As a detective, solving murders is her job, and finding a body on her wedding day completely ruined what should have been a happy occasion. Working alongside fellow officer Kit Green, Lisa begins questioning 6 key individuals connected to Theo in an effort to uncover who finally ended the villain's reign of terror on the cobbles. At the top of the suspect list is Todd Grimshaw, Theo's long-suffering husband who suffered years of emotional torment and manipulation at Theo's hands. Despite this, Lisa seems especially focused on Summer Spellman, who blamed Theo for the death of her adoptive stepfather, Billy Mayhew. Summer's private journal contains disturbing entries describing violent fantasies about Theo, making her look increasingly suspicious. Meanwhile, Kit turns his attention to Gary Windus, Theo's former friend and employer. Gary has a reputation for dealing harshly with bullies, and CCTV footage showing him smashing Theo's van with a sledgehammer shortly before the murder certainly raises questions. Another person under scrutiny is funeral director George Shuttleworth, who cared deeply for Todd and recognized Theo's cruel nature long before anyone else did. George was initially arrested after a blood-stained jumper was discovered at the funeral parlor, though he was later released. However, Lisa remains curious about his mysterious late-night walk on the evening Theo died. George's partner Christina Boyd also attracts suspicion, leaving people wondering whether she is protecting George or hiding secrets of her own. Theo's estranged wife, Danielle Silverton, is another possible suspect. Bitter after Theo abandoned her and their children to start a new life with Todd, Danielle later returns to Weatherfield and bonds with Todd over the pain Theo caused them both. However, Ryan Connor soon reveals he spotted Danielle near the crime scene on the night of the murder, placing her firmly in the spotlight. As Danielle becomes a serious suspect, Lisa's investigation takes another dramatic twist. After hearing Ryan's account, Lisa informs Todd that she has already questioned Danielle, leaving him anxious about what was said during the interview. Elsewhere, Summer confesses to Todd that she is considering pleading guilty to manslaughter because she feels trapped with no other option available to her. Todd is devastated by her admission and later asks Lisa if the police can finally return his mobile phone. Her unexpected response leaves him stunned. The case takes another surprising turn when Todd's missing phone is discovered in a pawn shop. Lisa immediately orders forensic tests to be carried out on the device. Soon afterwards, Lisa shocks the community by arresting Brody Michaelis on suspicion of theft after forensic officers uncover his fingerprints covering Todd's phone. Sally and Tim Metcalf watch helplessly as Brody protests his innocence while being led away by police. Kit is left deeply concerned as everyone begins to wonder whether Brody can explain the evidence against him, or if he may somehow be linked to Theo's murder after all. Coronation Street is set to deliver 2 dramatic shocks in Daniel Osborne's troubling storyline as his life spirals completely out of control. Next week, Daniel faces every parent's greatest fear when he wakes up to discover that his young son Bertie has vanished without a trace. As panic spread, the situation becomes even worse when Daniel accidentally injures his father, Ken Barlow, during a heated confrontation at number 1. The chaos begins after Daniel drinks heavily alone in his flat and eventually passes out, leaving Bertie to look after himself. The following morning, a hungover and terrified Daniel rushes into the street searching desperately for his missing son. But where has Bertie gone, and is he safe? Before Bertie disappears, Daniel is already struggling emotionally as he prepares to return to work while knowing everyone has seen the cruel online accusations about him. Hoping to lift his father's spirits, Bertie gives Daniel a thoughtful Best Teacher mug for good luck. Sadly, the touching moment is quickly ruined when Lily Platt accidentally knocks into Daniel and the mug smashes onto the floor. Shaken by the incident, Daniel heads to the Rovers to drink away his problems, forcing Adam Barlow to intervene before things get worse. Later, while storming through the precinct in a bad mood, Daniel unexpectedly comes face to face with Megan Walsh. Their tense encounter raises concerns over whether Daniel could lose control around his manipulative former partner. However, Daniel's nightmare is only beginning. Back at the flat, he reads more hateful posts from Truth Teller 2 online when Jody Ramsey accidentally lets slip information that exposes her as the person behind the trolling campaign. Although Jody immediately denies everything, Daniel becomes convinced he has uncovered the truth. Furious and devastated, he returns to the pub for more alcohol before stumbling back home. Meanwhile, Brody quietly asks his father for dinner, but Daniel is too drunk to respond and soon passes out again. Left alone, Brody attempts to prepare food for himself, leading to dangerous consequences before the vulnerable youngster wanders out into the street by himself. The next morning, Daniel is jolted awake by a phone call from Brody's school asking why the child has not arrived. Realizing his son is missing, Daniel rushes to the Barlow house in desperation, only to be confronted by furious family members worried about his behavior and parenting. According to actor Rob Mallard, Daniel feels completely cornered during the explosive argument. In the middle of the confrontation, he lashes out at Adam, but accidentally strikes Ken instead, once again hurting the person closest to him. As the fallout continues, the biggest mystery remains unanswered. Where is Brody? And with social services soon arriving at Daniel's door, his problems may only be getting started. Coronation Street aired a troubling new development for Will Driscoll, as fresh scenes hinted that Megan Walsh could continue causing chaos in his life. Will has been struggling badly ever since Megan was arrested for grooming him and later released on bail. At the same time, tensions have been growing between Will and his father Ben, who fears the scandal surrounding Megan could affect his son's future relationships. The latest drama began when Will overheard Ben speaking to Eva Price about him and Megan. Feeling upset and frustrated, Will confronted his dad before storming off to clear his head. Later, Will visited the cafe and unexpectedly crossed paths with Sam Blakeman. Unaware that Sam had recently been suffering disturbing hallucinations involving him, Will was shocked when Sam suddenly lashed out and accused him of ruining his life and being evil. Confused and hurt by the outburst, Will apologized before leaving. Clearly overwhelmed, Will turned to alcohol and climbed onto scaffolding while drinking vodka alone. Asha Alahan soon spotted him and begged him to come down safely. During the emotional moment, Will admitted he felt deeply damaged by everything that had happened and feared he might never feel normal again. Asha tried to comfort him, reassuring him that life would eventually improve while secretly messaging Maggie for help. Meanwhile, Hope Dobbs rushed to inform Ben about the dangerous situation. When Ben arrived, Will was still sitting high on the scaffolding alongside Maggie, who attempted to calm him down while sharing the vodka with him. During their conversation, Will confessed that although he hated what Megan had done to him, he still could not stop thinking about her. Maggie encouraged him not to let Megan continue controlling his emotions or his life. Thankfully, with Maggie's support, Will finally climbed down safely and later reconciled with his family. However, just as things seemed to be improving, another shocking encounter threatened to destroy his progress. In the episode's closing scenes, Megan secretly approached Will after watching him from a distance. Telling the teenager that she had missed him, Megan once again attempted to manipulate him emotionally. Will firmly demanded that she leave him alone, while Hope secretly watched the confrontation nearby. Megan then tried to convince Will that they had been in love, but this time he refused to fall for her manipulation and walked away from her. Despite Will standing his ground, the unexpected meeting raises serious questions about whether Megan's return could reopen old wounds and create even more emotional turmoil for him in the future. Coronation Street airs on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and is available to stream on ITVX.